Well, hello and welcome back to Radio Entrepreneurs. My name again is JDavis. I'm the host of Radio Entrepreneurs, and I'm also CEO of Mage LLC, management consulting firm working with organizations and families in the New England area and throughout wherever. Every week, we want to welcome back Mark Furman, director and shareholder of the law firm Tarlow, Breed and Rodgers, for our segment Entrepreneurship and the Law. Welcome back, Mark.
Hi, Jeffrey. Great to be with you today.
Yes, thank you again. There's just so much going on. I always say that to you, but I know the laws change all the time, and they changed last week again.
Yes. New development, major new development, is the Federal Trade Commission, which is a government agency, issued a rule that bans employers from using non-compete contracts, which are designed to prevent employees when they leave a company to join a rival company. The rule has already been challenged in court, and there is a case brought by the Chamber of Commerce contesting it, but it was a dramatic change in the law, and it was approved by the on a 3-2 vote by the commission. So there's this very close vote, and there's a Democratic majority on the FTC now, and so it led to this change. But I think so in general, these are going to be considered illegal, unenforceable, and non-competes have been prohibited in California for a long time. And, raises the question in our economy, should people be able to switch from employer to employer without any non-competes or not? This is different than other agreements, such as trade secret agreements that prohibit employees from disclosing confidential business information or trade secrets. This is just about the ability to go to work for a competing company. And historically, non-competes have been enforceable to the extent that they're reasonable in how long they last, the geographic region that they cover, and how broadly the ban is. But there have been changes. We had changes a number of years ago in Massachusetts that really restrict the use of non-competes, and it's been an ongoing subject. But one of the things that I find very interesting about this is there's a conflict going on in the courts over the power of administrative agencies to make these rules that have a major impact on the economy. And what power should the administrative agencies have versus the power of Congress? Congress passes laws, and then agencies write rules that interpret their laws. And historically, courts have deferred, not completely, but to a very great extent, to administrative agency interpretation of what these laws passed by Congress mean. And there is certainly a movement, certainly among I'd say conservative judges to rein in the power of administrative agency to make these rules which have the force of law. And how much deference should a judge or a court give the agency? On the one hand, the agency has expertise in the subject matter. On the other hand, the heads of the agencies are, frequently appointed by the president. And, they may or be subject to congressional approval, but they're not Congress. So the argument goes that too much deference has been given to administrative agencies. The counter argument is that Congress passes these very general laws. They're trying to cobble together a majority in the House and a majority in the Senate. In the Senate, a lot of things are subject to filibuster, so you have to have 60 senators to move it forward, and then it have signed by the president. So putting together, actually cobbling together enough support among different ideological factions, they actually pass a law. They end up being pretty general, not always, but in many cases, leaving it up to the administrative agency to kind of figure out the details. And that's a conflict going on, I'd say, throughout the courts, and the Supreme Court seems to be moving in the direction of reining in the power of administrative agency to make rules that they think are beyond the authority granted by Congress. So this is one example. It's important. This has a major impact on the freedom of employees to to change jobs within the industry in which they've been working. But one wonders what will happen if if the Republicans take the White House this fall. It wouldn't be shocking if during the next period of years that this rule is changed. I mean, this happens among a number of agencies. The National Labor Relations Board that deals with, the right to organize and unionize and things like that. There's have been over the years many changes in the law as they've interpreted based upon who has appointed the majority.
Well, let's play entrepreneur judge for a second. I'll be the entrepreneur, since that's what we talk about. Who's caught in the middle here? The entrepreneur, especially the entrepreneur in a small business for me. And, all of a sudden the entrepreneur has these letters, agreements, contracts with employees, key employees. Are they all null and void? And it could all change again because they're caught in the proverbial middle of the political game that's going on around them. And what they had yesterday isn't what they have today. And what they may have today might not be what they have tomorrow. It's a very hard way to run a business.
Well, that's true. I mean, the law evolves, and it's seldom that the amount of regulations business owners are subject to are reduced. There's generally additional regulations that are designed to address a particular concern, but it makes it more and more complicated for business owners. And it creates just an increasing number of laws that business owners can violate and end up in having a litigation problem, legal problem, a regulatory problem. And for, smaller companies that have, don't have in-house legal teams and, can't afford to have full-time lawyers who are monitoring everything, it's very difficult. Now, some laws take that into account. They'll say this applies to employers with more than, say, 50 or 100 employees to try to address the smaller businesses. But, but you see this, it's not confined to, it's not confined to the relationship between employers and employees. It's, it affects various types of contracts.
Partnerships.
Partnerships, that's right. And there's disagreements among judges about how to interpret certain laws, and that creates another area of uncertainty. And if you have a case that ends up in a jury, juries don't see every case identically, nor does every juror see the same case identically to all the other jurors. I mean, there's inherent uncertainty when you deal with the law and regulations, and companies need to do their best, and it's quite complicated. And the law today can be the opposite of the law tomorrow. And this is a good example of that on the FTC ban on non-competes.
So if I'm an employer and I had a set of agreements yesterday that are now maybe questionable today, and I need help to try to understand what I can and can't do with my employees and partners, and if I wanted to get hold of you and ask you about this whole particular area, how could I find you?
Best way to reach me is at mfurman, Furman, at TBHR-law.com.
Thank you very much. And remind everybody, Entrepreneurship and the Law and Mark Furman can be heard and seen weekly on all our Radio Entrepreneurs social networks. I know I check out Mark Furman. I hope you will too. See you next week on Radio Entrepreneurs.